go ahead and go live. So again, I never can tell for sure when we're going live. I have to wait for it to
I'll check for you on YouTube quickly and see if we're live.
okie dokie. But it's what it does is it tells me it's setting up everything. So I believe we're live now, and it's showing me live as in YouTube. Let me come back to you guys. And what we're going to do today is continue setting up our email sequence. And I asked you guys yesterday if you could go and either create brand new 5 emails or go into the elements page of Builderall. And there's some pre-made email sequences there that you could actually grab and go in and get. Either way, we're going to actually jump in today and continue to set up our email sequence. And then I'm going to show you some things about email sequences and then email campaigns. So an email sequence is a collection of email campaigns. Email campaign is one single email. And then a regular email is the same as a broadcast email, which is a one-time email going out on a specific date at a specific time. Now, there's a couple things that I wanted to make absolutely sure that I had correct for you guys, because mailing blasts sometimes can be like one of those things where you thought you knew, but you really didn't know. So I went in and talked to the developers yesterday, and I said, I just want to verify this thing, and I want to verify this thing, and I want to verify this thing. So let me tell you what I verified. Okay, and Arlie, you may be one that definitely wants to hear this, wherever Arlie may be. But there is no way at this time to designate the time of day that your emails go out. I thought I knew that for sure, but I wanted to ask the developers. And the developer said, absolutely, there's no way for you to designate that you want your emails to go out at a specific time during the day. For example, if I wanted my emails to all go out at 8 o'clock a.m., which would be a great time, right? Because everybody's checking their email first thing in the morning. You have the best chance to get seen and opened first thing in the morning, rather than if it goes out later in the day and it goes down, 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 down as more emails come in. We do not have the ability to mandate the date, the hour, or the specific time that our emails get sent out. But the good thing is that I really like that idea. So it is in the queue to be developed for Mailing Boss. So
Kelly, the question I have for you is, on some other platforms, you can say, I want it to go out at 8 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning, depending on the person's time zone. So right. It'll go out at 8 o'clock my time. It'll go out at 8 o'clock your time. It'll go 8 o'clock Philippines time. If they're going to do that, can you ask them if they can add that in there so that all the stuff goes out?
We discussed that as well. So all of that is in there. And so that's on the platform to be submitted for to be added to the The reality is, though, that list of things that's on there to be done is actually very, very long. And that item that we asked for is down on the list. So you will not see it tomorrow. You may not see it next month. You may not see it in 3 months. I don't know what the time period for it is. But I do know without a doubt it is on the list, because I made sure. I was like, make sure this is on the list because we want it. And if we don't get it, we're going to revolt. So it is on the list, and they will be working on it for us. The other thing that I wanted to make absolutely sure I got right was when you choose send to all current and future subscribers. Remember I told you that if you chose that and they'd been a member of the list for a long time, and you have a series, they would get all of those emails at once, right? That's still true. That is absolutely true. I was exactly right. I just wanted to make absolutely sure that I was right about it. So you want to use that feature carefully, right? Because we've actually had that issue in Builderall. Some of us have gotten crazy emails sometimes where we check our inbox and there's like 10 emails on the same day, almost at the same time, that are all different emails. And all that's happened is somebody chose all current and future subscribers. So it took that list and sent it to everybody back all the way to the beginning of when they joined. So it is true. So you want to use that with caution, because you may end up sending them a buttload of emails that you didn't intend to send all on the same day. So my suggestion is that you choose future subscribers only, unless you have a point that you want to make sure they get all of the emails in that sequence all at one time, because they may fall into those time periods where they get all of them at once. Okay? Does everybody understand that? I want to make sure you understand that. Okay, good, fabulous. All right, excuse me. So what we're going to do today is we're going to continue working with our email sequence. I'm going to go in right where I left off, but I'm going to show you going in and grabbing those email sequences for Builderall, and I'm just going to put them in as plain text. I'm going to make it like way, way, way easy. I'm not going to go through any type of formatting stuff, because I'm going to let you guys format your emails however you want to. I'm going to make it super simple for training, so we're not on here for 5 hours trying to format emails. But we're going to put 5 emails in there. We're going to activate them, and we're going to go into some of the other settings that you can do for an email sequence, so you can see how to get in and out of your sequences and edit them and change them, and some other things that you can do. So today we're going to focus just about exclusively on email sequence. We may go into individual email campaigns if we have time. Okay, everybody understand? Yeah. Okay, let's go and do it. I do have a couple of chats. Oh, everybody's saying hello. That's fabulous. So everybody that said hello, hello. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and give me just a moment to go up here. Hold on. Because I just came off that meeting, I'm not quite as prepared as I normally am. So give me just a moment and share my screen. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go to the Builderall website. So I'm going to go to builderall.com, just like this. And then I'm going to go all the way to the bottom of the page. And I'm going to take a look at that area that I was telling you about that's called Elements right here. And that is a resource page for anybody in Builderall. And it has images, and it has the logo. It has lots of neat things that you can download and use for your business. So if I click on that, it's going to open up the page. Now, let me warn you that it's opening up 5 of those pages at a time when you click that button. So I've already submitted that to support, and they're working on fixing that for me. So no worries, they're going to get it fixed. But until then, you have 5 different windows you can use to access this information. But all you have to do on the Elements page is scroll down, and towards the bottom of that page, I'm going to move this window out of the way a little bit. Towards the bottom of the page, we've got emails. There we are right there. So I'm going to grab the email swipes for affiliates, and I'm going to do a 5-week email series. I'm assuming that's 5 emails. So I'm going to go ahead and download them. So I'm going to click the download button, and here we go. It's thinking about it and loading them. It's sending me to Dropbox, and we'll take a look at what shows up. And we're waiting, I think my computer's like, you're doing way too much with me. It's just too much. I'm going to work slow. So let me click out of some of my windows, because I have way too many element windows open. And then we'll see how this one's doing. Still loading. So what I'm going to do is, while that one's loading, I'm going to go down and click the other one and see if it gives me something a little faster. So I've got the 7-day loading and the 5-day loading. So this one can't be reached, and the other one can't be reached. Oh, there we go. So right here, we've got the emails for, I believe this was the 5-week. So I'm going to click to open it. And here we've got the actual emails. So week 1, so I'm just going to call this email 1. We'll take this one right here, and then week 2, and Should have week 3 and week 4. And let's see if we got week 5. Then we got week 5. So I've got 5 emails in there. And I'm going to go ahead and use those to add into Mailing Boss, into our trusty little email sequence that we've been building together. So I'm going to go ahead and go back into Build Raw. And I'm going to go into Christy Lynn's account. If you remember, that's the account that we created. So let me see if I can click in here. My computer is like really struggling right now. Here we go. Oops. Christy Lynn, and we'll sign in. And then I'm going to go to Mailing Boss. And I'm going to click Access Mailing Boss. And that's going to take me into the Mailing Boss dashboard. And there's my Shelley's Awesome list. And I'm working in my sequence. So I'm going to go to Campaigns, and then I'm going to go to Email Sequence. And right here, I've got that trusty little sequence we've been working on. So all I'm going to do is go over to here where it says, I think I'm going to go to Sequence Campaigns. And I'm going to click the Gears button. And that's going to take me right in to edit all of these emails. So let me go back and do that again. I'm going to show you exactly how I got in that to edit all of them at the same time. So I went into Campaigns and I chose Email Sequence. Then under Email Sequence, I chose the gear, and that takes me into all of the campaigns in that sequence. And so then I've got my editor open, and this is the editor light. I still have not shown you how to go into the advanced editor yet. But here I can edit all of my emails at the same time. So I'm going to start editing these emails. So I'm going to click this first one right here, which is technically the welcome email, maybe, I guess. I'm going to click on that one.
Have you got to pause that first before you edit, or can you edit while it's actually up?
This in here, it lets you edit on the fly.
On the fly.
If you go in, yeah, if you go into a different area, it won't let you edit on the fly. But in here, you're actually allowed to edit on the fly. But just be careful with that for sure.
No, thank you.
You're welcome. But
Ellie, can I ask you one quick question? See
absolutely.
See how that welcome is like dropped down by an inch? Is there a way to make it so that when you look at your email, it doesn't have this big space at the top? I've keep trying and I can't seem to figure it out.
I don't know. Let me see if I can. I don't know if this will delete the whole section. So let me.
It does.
Well, I've tried that several times. Eventually, I went into the code as well, and it's potluck with that. Just sometimes you can delete one of those blank lines, and sometimes just not.
All I did was just add it to this section. So I just deleted the section.
Or you can add it to the next section. Yeah.
Yep. That's all. But you just kind of have to play with it a little bit. It's a stinker for sure. And it takes a little bit sometimes to figure it all out.
Maybe that could be a suggestion that our emails can start at the top instead of an inch down.
Yeah, that would be.
The problem with doing that is then you're going to run into mobile and other device adaptability. You need that buffer at the top.
Really?
Yeah, because it wasn't there before. And then when you put it on a phone, it cuts off the sides and it cuts off the top. So I think that's why they put that in there.
Yeah, probably so. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to go ahead and just delete my sections. Because remember, I'm just going to go with the plain text. And all I'm going to do is copy in the text from the email samples. So I'm starting right here. Let me see if I can maybe add in a plain text. So here we go. I'll add that right there. Fabulous. And I don't know if I can delete that. No, of course not. And I can backspace. No, of course not. So what I'm going to do is take this area right here. And I'm going to take that first email. And that was open in here. So here's my subject. I can choose any of these subject lines. So I'll just choose, I guess, this one right here, SAS. And I'll copy it. And then I'll jump back over to my Mailing Boss and paste it into the subject line. So that's my first subject line. I'm going to go back over there and I will highlight and drag through. And we'll do this right here, signature, yay, like this. And I'll go back into Melonpost and I'll highlight this one and paste. And notice that it didn't take the formatting. So I have to go ahead and do the formatting myself. So I have to enter here and put this right here. And I have to look and see how it's formatted. So after the going on question, so going on is an enter. Here we go. And then after promotion from Builderall, there's an enter. And then after tools you need to succeed online, so we've got right there, there's an enter. And then we've got ongoing residual income. So let's see. I'm going to have to do some spacing here because it didn't pull in spacing as well. So you may have to do some editing. That's okay. Then there's completely paid off is the next one. So completely paid off. Then let's do this. There we go. And then after that, it's XXX and signature. All right, so obviously what you're going to have to do ahead of time is make sure that you go through and edit. Because if you notice, just copying that over, there's actually some weird spacing going on, like right here. It needs a space between those words. Oops. And right here, it needs a space. Right here, it needs a space. Right here, it needs a space. So you're not going to get out of editing. I'm sorry to tell you, you're not going to get out of editing. So make sure you're looking at your emails carefully to cover anything that is spelled wrong or the spacing is wrong or anything like that. So it's going to take you a minute. And let me explain to you something that you need to clearly understand. And that is never send an email out without checking it first. Because you never know what's in there. And it may say something in there that doesn't resonate with you, right? It says something that's wacky and doesn't resonate with you. So read it carefully, put your own flair in it, put your own spin on it. Whatever you do, make sure you're double checking it all to catch spelling errors, grammatical errors, spacing errors, and I'm seeing them just all over the place. But double, triple, and quadruple check it to make sure you got it, okay? That's just, that's the teacher in me, I guess, telling you to just be careful with all of that.
You should also tell them that they shouldn't have this accessible anymore because it's an old promotion and it should be down.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something I was just going to say, Bonnie, is this is talking about the money side of Builderall. And that's something that's actually changing. We just talked about it today on the affiliate meeting. But that will be changing, and we will not be able to promote the money side of Builderall, just the tool side of Builderall. So this email sequence will actually be coming down. So just be ready to not use this particular sequence for real, because we don't want to promote the money side of Builderall. And you'll be hearing more about that later. And let me look at your eyeballs to make sure that you get this. Is on Monday, when we do our Builderall business meeting, you want to make sure you are there. Do not miss it. And if you miss it, I'm going to come get you and I'm going to drag you by your toenails and make you watch Monday's webinar because it's really important stuff that you need to know. And it's important to know this so that you can make sure you're promoting Builderall correctly and you're following all the laws that we need to follow to make Builderall compliant with the laws in every single country. So you don't want to miss it. You definitely want to be there. I could give you all of the information today, but we're not going to do that. We're going to make you go to the affiliate meeting and get everything straight from the horse's mouth, Eric Salgado himself. So be there or be square. That's kind of how it works, isn't it? But thank you, Bonnie, for pointing that out. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. And so I put my subject line in there, and then I copied in my email. And I'm going to go ahead and pretend like I put my affiliate link in there, and then my signature. So I'll say Shelly Turner. Oops, Turner. Overall, Eva. There we go. So I've got my whole message in there, and then I've got my available tags, of course, and I've got my F name tag in there, so I'm happy with that. I don't want to add any of the elements in there. Again, I'm just on plain text. So everything to me looks great. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this one is actually done. I actually like that, and it looks fabulous to me. So I'm going to call this one done. So I'm going to click done, and I want you to see what happens. Is this going to take me into my summary information? But what it's done is it's definitely saved that first email for me. And so now I'm just going to go back and click edit this sequence. And I'm going to choose to go ahead and jump into that second one and edit this one. So I'm going to go ahead and click it. Oops, and let me do it again. Edit the sequence. And go back. It takes me to email sequence, sequence 1, email number 2. This is the one I want to edit. So now I'm going to go in and change the subject line for email number 2. So let me scroll down. And here's my subject lines. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab one of these. So I'll say, ever heard of affiliate marketing? Remember, these will not fly with the new Builderall, but because these are pre-made, we're just going to use these for today. So there's my subject line. Now I have to get rid of all my extra sections that I don't want. So I'll go ahead and delete them. There we go. And okay, and I've still got this first section right here. So I'm going to jump in and grab the body of it and scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. Oh my gosh, we have a lot of body here. So let me copy all of it. And what I may do is see if it works to move it to Notepad first and paste it. Nope, I don't like it. So I'm just going to paste it directly in there, and we will edit. So I'm going to go back to Mailing Boss. And I've highlighted this area here, just like this. And I'm going to click paste. And I don't think I got it all. So let me try this again. Oh, that's weird. I did get it all, but it's really weirdly formatted. So let me look at it and see what on earth. Holy cow, it did it in the wrong order and everything. So this is some of the lovely things that we deal with when we're dealing with Builderall and Mailing Boss. So I've deleted everything. I've gone in and grabbed the email swipe. Let me make sure I got all of it.
Shirley, I think it's because you're pulling it in from a Word document.
Yeah.
That's often the problem.
Yep. That's why I tried to jump into Notepad, but Notepad was just as bad, actually. So let me go to Notepad again. And we'll do this.
There's actually a break in the page there you're just going through, and that'll throw you off a little bit as well.
Yeah, it copies the break in the pages in as well, and then it just makes it a blank block in the email. So that's why it's really good not to work from Word when one does this.
I totally agree.
Saying that yesterday.
Yeah, let's do this in pieces. So let's go from here to here and see if we can grab that. So we'll do that like this. Oh my gosh, there we go. And then we'll go from here.
I find it's always much easier to take your stuff, throw it into Notepad, and then put it on because it formats so much better.
Yeah, it was just not formatting even when I was putting it in Notepad. So
it's not, Shelley, you're going to tear your hair out if you work out of a document.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it. One way to get around this, if you want to make sure that you've got zero formatting on your text, you know when you make an email and you have a subject line, if you take any paragraph and you paste it in there, it will by default remove all of the formatting, and then you just go Control-A, Control-C, and you pick it up and you go Control-V, and it just puts it in here quite nicely. It's a fast workaround. But
you're taking the break there. It's going to go weird, yeah. maybe stop it. Your when you're copying and pasting, stop before the line.
Okay. It's tricky, isn't it, you guys?
Yeah. By experience, I have to save the Notepad document.
Mm-hmm. Let's try this. Well, let's try this because we're very creative people. I'm gonna go like right to here.
Keep her going. Keep her going. Go on. Keep her going a little bit more. A little bit more. Where's the break? Go on. It's below the let's briefly cover
Hold on.
paragraph.
Yeah.
That just really formats it wacky, doesn't it?
Even in Notepad, you have to go fix it now, which is a pain.
You have to work in Notepad than in this.
What's it like in OneNote?
Oh, I think it'd probably be worse than OneNote because it's gonna carry the formatting with it.
Mm.
So you know what we're gonna do, guys? We're just gonna take part of this message because it's gonna take too long to format it. So what I'm gonna do is cheat because we're training and I don't want to keep you guys here for 4 hours. So I will take just the first part and we'll pretend like I grabbed all of it and formatted it, okay? So I'm gonna select just this part here. We'll put in and I'll highlight all of this and we'll get just like that. And we'll pretend like that is fantabulous. And then I'm gonna go ahead and let's see, I'm gonna click erase and get it back to whatever the standard was. And then I'll just format this area right here. And let's see if we can get this right here. I'm gonna go hi. And back this up. And we'll do that right there. And it's so weird because it's formatting as one line. And then I'll put a comma there. And then I'm gonna go down to my available tags. First, I'm gonna delete this. And I'll put my cursor there and I'll go to available tags and I'll go down to F name. Remember, we can pull that F name in. I'm going to find F name and click it. And Shazam, we'll pretend like that is perfect. We'll do that. Really good. And then we'll go Shelly Turner overall.
Sorry, if I could just mention something.
Go ahead.
Just a little tip for those of you, once you get a little bit advanced at this, you try and type in these tags like Fname and whatever by hand. So you go square brackets and you just type it in. It doesn't always take it. So
yeah, that's a really good point because that's been an issue across the board is people think, oh, I'll just type it in. Don't. Just click the available tags and then click on the one you want to bring in because if you type it in, I don't know why it won't recognize it. It just sometimes just will not recognize it if you type it in. So go to the available tags and choose the available tags and just let it do it.
In theory, it makes sense and it should usually work like that. But in whatever way it's in the background, in this particular case, just don't bother. Take the extra minute, go down, grab the correct tag and make sure it's in there.
Yep,
don't type
absolutely. I think, Phoenix, it might be something like, you know, every once in a while when you grab like an N and it has that little squiggly over it, like in Spanish.
Yeah.
A little symbol, and you don't realize that that is a special character. And it might be that it's got, if we type it in, we're not using a special character thing that Mailing Boss needs, but when you grab it and click it, it does grab the special character thing that it needs. So
yeah, I think it's got additional formatting code and field code that comes with that tag, which doesn't, in this case, work when you just type it in. But it works on the website if you do that. So I can't pinpoint it. But in this case, just go and get them. Okay.
Yep, just go get them. So absolutely. So
Shelley?
Oh yes, I have another one. Go ahead.
I just a quick question. We're talking about copy and pasting. Does Text Expander, if you were to do it in something like Text Expander,
I'm not sure because I've never used Text Expander, so I don't know the formatting that it does. But your absolute 100% best bet is Notepad because Notepad has no formatting. It's not going to have bold, italic, underline. It's not going to have double enter versus single enter. It's not going to have any of that formatting. So if you can put your emails into something like Notepad that has 0 formatting, when you then pull it into Mailing Boss as an email, it will take on the formatting that is whatever's there already. So that's your best bet. And the reason we're having trouble today is because we're trying to pull it from, which is like a Word doc, and it has existing formatting. So it's giving us grief trying to even copy it over to Notepad, because Notepad is seeing the formatting, and it's taking those extra characters that help with the formatting in the doc, but they're showing as wacky in Notepad. So we'd even have to go in and edit Notepad before we can copy it and paste it over to Mailing Boss. So my suggestion to you is put all of your emails that you pre-write into Notepad or something like Notepad that has 0 formatting, so that you can very easily copy and paste it over to Mailing Boss, and you won't have to deal with all the formatting issues. Okay, so I'm actually really glad you're seeing this today, because this is a common problem and it is overly frustrating. And I'm telling you the way to fix it, and that is to get with a Notepad, put your pre-written emails into Notepad, and then go through and copy and paste into Mailing Boss. It's going to make you happier, and it's going to make you retain your hair, and you won't end up being like poor Tyree. I think Tyree, the reason he does not have very much hair at all is because of Mailing Boss and copying his emails over from Word. Right, Tyree? Isn't that it? So don't be like Tyree. Use Notepad and copy that over. It will make you happier, and you'll keep your hair. So let's go ahead and jump back in.
Tyree was telling me that the reason why he has no hair is because you blow his mind all the time.
That's true too, but I'm going to blame it on the email right now. That's convenient, so we'll blame it on the email right now. You can also see that there's different formatting right here, and this is the other thing that drives me absolutely wacky, is the formatting when it's different like this. And so you can go in and work on trying to resize everything so that everything's the same size. But it takes a little bit of work, and it can be a little frustrating. And if you notice, the line spacing is off, and there's not a good way to affect the line spacing. To work with that, you'd have to go into the code and actually work with the line spacing code and change that. You can see that's kind of a flippin' mess. So working with it can be a challenge, and that's why I really want you to work with pulling it in from Notepad, because then you won't have those formatting issues that can be so frustrating. We're going to pretend like this is pristine. It's perfect. It's pristine. And we're going to go ahead and click done and go ahead and accept this one. And, and then I'm going to go back and edit the sequence again. And what I'm doing when I'm clicking done is it's saving everything I've done with it so far. So I'm not skipping emails and possibly not getting them to save. So now I'm going to go ahead and click add an email. This is going to be the third email in the sequence. So I'm going to go ahead and keep the name Shelly's Awesome List, sequence number 1, and then we're going to call it email number 3. And I'm going to go in and get the subject line for it. So I'll go through here and get subject line for number 3. And I like this one. I think I want to drive one. So I'm going to highlight that if it'll let me. There we go. And go back over here and put it in as the message. And then for the actual email, hello FName. Well, we'll take that much and see if it'll take it. So here we go. Oh my gosh. Yep, it took it, but didn't take the formatting. So we'll go here. And we'll go, let's see, here we go, there we go, and then I'll put my name. There we go. So we have an acceptable email there. And I'm seeing if I can delete any lines in the extra spaces, which I can't. So now I've got my subject line and my email number 3. I've identified it as email number 3. So I'm going to go ahead and click done. So now I have the third one, but one of the things that I didn't do is I didn't set the days. You can see on this one I've got 2 minutes, this one I've got 0 days, and that one I've got 0 days. So I need to set the days. So I'm going to go back and edit the sequence. And there's my email number 3. So I'm going to go into that email number 3, which is right here. I think I want to drive one. And I'm going to go to the days. And I'm going to set this to 4 minutes. So 4 minutes, and this is for testing purposes. So I'm going to click Save Changes, and then I'm going to click Activate when it pops back up. So activate. So that email is actually ready to go. And so now I'm going to add a new email. So this is email number 4. So I'm going to change my campaign name to email number 4. And then I'm going to get my subject line. So I'll scroll down here. And I'm going to highlight this line right here. Yay me. And I'll go back and add it in there. And weird, it's got carriage returns. So we'll get rid of those carriage returns. There we go. And then I'll go back over here and we'll take just a little bit of this message, maybe to there. And we will highlight and replace.
Well, while you're doing that, Shelly, I'm going to share with you, while I was doing my emails, I used all the subject lines. I thought that was like, these are stupid long subject lines. So I'm glad you're showing me this way. I was like, that makes much more sense.
Yeah, it's just giving you options so that you don't have to use a specific subject line. You can choose one of them, not all of them. And that way you have a hopefully compelling subject line. And of course you can change any of them as well. So yeah, don't feel stupid. Just feel now smarter than you were a few minutes ago.
I am now.
All right, so I don't want you to feel stupid. I just now want you to go, wow, I'm smarter than I was 5 minutes ago. That's awesome. So anyway, I've got my email done, and I'm going to go ahead and click done. And of course, then I'm going to have to go back into the sequence. So I'm going to edit the sequence again. And
Shelly, are you feeling okay?
I'm doing okay. I promise.
You sure?
If I start to feel yucky,
You're not just putting it on now.
Nope, I promise.
Okay.
If I start to feel yucky, I'll tell you.
Good.
So right here's our email. And I need to go ahead and set the days. So I'm going to click the day. And this one's going to go out, I believe, 6 minutes later. So I'm going to go 6 minutes and then click Save Changes. And it's going to refresh everything. And then I'm going to go back to that email and I'm going to click Activate. And now that one's ready to go. And so how many do we have? We've got 4, I think. So we need number 5, and I think then we're good to go. So let's add one more email. So add email. And it's going to take a minute. And we're going to change this one to email number 5. And now I need to go get my subject line. So I'm going to scroll down here. And there's this one is the same email as in number 3 for the 7-day trial. So here's the subject line. We've only got one choice. So I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to paste it just like that. And there's some carriage returns, so I'm getting rid of that carriage return, just like that. And then I'm going to go in and take a little bit of the content, not all of it. And we will take maybe this much, and we'll copy it. And then I'm going to paste it here. Yay. And I'll do some carriage returns and some carriage returns to make it look nice. And carriage returns there. And right there. And right there. I don't know if these are the right places, but we're going to assume they are. So right here, this one has nome. So that's the Portuguese version. It's not the right one for what we need. So I'm just going to highlight this and delete it. Just like this. And then I'm going to go down to those lovely little available tags. And I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to get the correct tag, which is fname. And so now I've got the correct tag in there. And now I've got that 5th email created. So I'm going to click done. And that takes me back to my list. So I'm going to click edit sequence. And then I'm going to go to that email, which is, can you build an online income, right there. And I'm going to choose the days. And I believe this one's going to go at 8 minutes. Remember, we're choosing minutes because we're just testing right now. So I chose that. It's going to reload it. And I'm going to go back in and find that one and activate. And it'll reload it again. So lots of things that happen. There's a lot of moving parts to this one, but we've got our 5 emails. And let's take a look at them in this screen to make sure it's what we want. So we've got this first one that's going out 0 minutes, which means immediately, and it is activated. We've got the second one that's going out in 2 minutes, and it is activated. We've got the third one that's going out in 4 minutes, and it's activated. We've got the fourth one that's going out in 6 minutes, and it's activated. And then the 5th one that's going out in 8 minutes, and it's activated. So I'm happy with all of that. I can see pretty clearly that I believe I've set it up correctly. So I'm going to click done. Now I have another chance to look at it all to make sure it's correct. So I'm going to take a look and make sure that this one, 0 minutes, active. This one, 2 minutes, active. This one, 4 minutes, active. This one, 6 minutes, active. And this one, 8 minutes, inactive. So every single one of these emails I've got set to go out 2 minutes apart. Now, I want to look at your faces and make sure that I'm looking at eyeballs. I want anybody to tell me, why did I set these at 2 minutes apart?
So you can test it yourself before you send it out.
That's exactly it, Gabriel. And Dominic, I know you're going to say the same thing. So thank you very much. That's exactly it, Gabriel. And exactly it, Dominic. I got the mental answer from you. I got it mentally. So that either means we're both mental, we're both psychic, or we're both psycho. I'm not sure which of those it is.
2 out of 3.
We're all trained.
You're all trained. That's right. That's
properly by Shelley.
But you're exactly right. What we're going to do is we're going to actually go through some testing, and I'm going to show you how to do testing to make sure this stuff works correctly. And part of that is setting up these emails at 2 minutes apart. So you don't have to wait days to see if it's working. You can actually just wait minutes and you'll be able to see if your whole email sequence goes out. Okay, so that's an important part of anything you do in Builderall is test, test, retest, test again, and test again until you're crazy and you just don't want to test anymore. You test it again just to make sure. So that's just part of that process. Okay. So now let's take a look at what we've done in the system and where we can find all this stuff and where we can go and edit if we want to. Gabriel?
Shelley, so basically when you say test and test, I know with one of the previous boot camps we talked about you're sending it to yourself to like 10 different emails or something like that.
Yeah. So
you can see, do you check also on different platforms like mobile and whatever, so you see how it looks like? Or do you have any friends that helps you with testing and any tricks?
I have so many emails. With almost 100 domains, I have plenty of ways to set up emails. And a lot of those I have popped into my phone. So I know the ones that I have popped into my phone, and I know the ones that I need to check online. And then of course I have Gmail and I have Yahoo. So I check with all of those, and I check on mobile as well. So all you have to do is start thinking in terms of what you want to test, and then you put on your Builderall important information Google Doc, right? I think I've all told you guys about my important information Google Doc. You're going to put in a list of your standard test emails, so that every time you go to test an email sequence, you may not remember those emails that you set up. Because with me, I have hundreds of email addresses. It's ridiculous. So I can just go into my important docs, look at my testing emails, and pull those testing emails and run them through and test. And it's actually that simple. And then if you want to retest, you can actually delete a user. So let's say I use Shelly@BillverallDiva.com, and it goes through and it adds it to my mailing box list. Well, obviously, if I'm already on there, it makes it difficult to retest it, right? Because it's not going to resend if I'm already on there. So I have to delete that subscriber, re-add it again through an opt-in form or something like that, and it will go through and do the emails again. So there's ways to do it, but you want to make sure when you're testing, you've got a RainLoop email, so you can check it at RainLoop. You've got a Yahoo email, they're free, so get a Yahoo email. You need to have a Gmail email, they're free. And then make sure that at least one of those you're checking on your phone so that you can see what it looks like on your phone as well. So all of those are fair game. And then I have one RainLoop account that has many, many, many test emails so that I can run through and test a bunch of times and see what happens when I test a bunch of times.
Do you also test against inboxing? Make sure that your inbox you're not. And then if so, does it mean that if you're inboxing, everyone else will be inboxing? You know,
no, it doesn't mean everybody else is going to inbox, because it's each provider has different rules to get into that inbox. And Gmail is the hardest to get in. So if I'm sending to Gmail, Gmail just is kind of sneaky. It'll send it to spam when every other provider is going to the inbox. So the next thing that you need to do is test to see what you can do to help yourself get into that inbox. And Barbie Figueroa had a wonderful, fantastic post where she was explaining how she, the process that she went through to work through getting it out of the spam folder and into the inbox folder. So I'll make sure that when we start talking about that process, that I give you that exact, that post, because it probably says it better than I can say it on the process you have to go through to make sure that you're getting into the inbox. And it is a process. You have to test your emails. And guys, there's so many people that they get so mad that their emails going into spam, but they never stop to look at that email, to really think about that email in terms of spam. And they don't think about the fact that it's got the word free in there, which is an automatic trigger into spam. They don't think about certain words or the overuse of exclamation points, or there's some words you go, once you see it on the spam list, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But otherwise, you don't know that that's a trigger word that's going to send it to spam. So it is a process of you learning the right words to use in your emails. And it's also a process of getting your reputation up. And this is why I have so many test emails as well, so that I can get that email into a test and then open the email in test and then click a link in that email. All of that increases my reputation. So I have a better chance of getting into that inbox. Dominic?
Yeah, you mentioned RainLoop. Is that how we access our business emails? Because I've set up several, and when I press the button, it doesn't take me to any email.
Yeah, Dominic, when we get to that part, we're just about there, because we're going to have to check.
Oh, okay, great. We're going to cover that. Awesome.
We are absolutely going to cover that. I'm going to show you how to get your email, and I'm also going to show you how you can get it outside of email RainLoop, how you can move it over into another email client. So nice. All of that we'll cover once we cover how to do email sequences and then regular emails. Okay. So no worries, we'll get there. Tyree.
Okay. Shelly, I heard you mention like spam words. Is there a particular list that has spam words that we can use to know what not to put in the email?
Yep, absolutely. When I start covering that in depth, I'm going to give you several resources that's going to educate you on spam words and also how to increase your reputation. So no worries about that. I'm going to give you a full coverage of that when we hit it, okay?
Shelly is awesome.
I am awesome. I hate to delay all of it, because I know you guys, if I could open this up pull it out and give it to you in one whack, I would totally do that. But unfortunately, I need my brain.
Forget it, Shelly. Too much for everybody to understand what's in your brain.
When they figure out how we can download brainwave shit, I got several USBs that I can send to you. Okay.
You need more than several USBs for Shelly's mind. Shelly, so when Eric was talking in this other meeting we were in earlier about the reputation.
Yeah.
So you think that's going to take a couple of weeks for him to get it fixed?
Yes, absolutely. What Eric was talking about in our meeting earlier, and this is actually one that I was helping to deal with the developers. We did this, I don't remember what day, but it was beginning of the week. Somebody mentioned in one of the Facebook groups that Mailing Boss was blocked. It was blacklisted. And so I jumped in, being the Builderall fan that I am, and wanted to investigate more, because obviously if it's blocked, if their IP is blocked, I wanted to know more. So what I discovered was that only one service provider has Mailing Boss IP blocked out of a list of about 20 or 30, right? Only one. That is not what the guy said. He just said all of Mailing Boss is blocked. So once we discovered exactly which provider was blocked, then we went to that provider, and we are communicating with them right now to resolve the problem. So I want to express to you that it's never good to post sometimes those negative things in full generalities like that. Because when you say, oh my God, Mailing Boss IP is blocked, about 1,000 people panic, right?
If that's minimal, I would say.
Right.
Yeah, so even like I was testing something for a new website, a new domain yesterday, and it came into my spam. I was like, argh!
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that has to do with that.
I doubt it, because there's so many other providers that are not blocked. I've investigated it myself. I gave all the data to the developers. I know exactly what the data was because I'm the one that pulled it. One provider, which was Spamhaus, SPAMHAUS.
Yeah, I know.
They're the only one that has one of the mailing IP addresses blocked. So all the rest are green. So it's all good. They're going to figure it out. They're going to fix it. But more times than not, it's not going to be Spamhaus. It's going to be watching that email, looking at the words that you're using, working on your reputation, especially if it's a new email with a new domain. So all of those things are, they influence whether you get into that inbox or not. Okay, so it's a process, and it involves testing. Like I said, you got to test, retest, and test again. And when we go through and test our emails, once we get all this set up, I'll show you guys exactly what I do, so you guys can improve upon it and do even better. Because I'm sure I'm not doing the exact perfect thing. You guys are smart. You can take what I do and make it even better. I'm positive.
Did you share that thing you have on whitelisting yet, or not? Because I missed one day this week.
Whitelisting, like the instructions.
Yeah, so we can put it like on, for example, a link to it for people to on our confirmation pages.
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
I haven't done
Thank
it yet.
you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I just shared a link there, Shelly, mailtester.com. It tests the spamminess of your email. It may have people.
Yeah, there's a ton of those that are free. And I don't think I've ever used that one, but it's certainly okay to use any of those to test your emails and see if they are scoring high on spam. We have a spam checker on Mailing Boss, but honest to God, you guys, it's a score of 0 to 5, and I can't freaking ever remember if a 0 is good or a 5 is good.
But these are the confirmation emails. When someone opts in on a list is what I'm concerned about. So those aren't spammy. Those aren't controlled by us. They just automatic Builderall emails.
That's true. I have a good result with those. I don't hardly ever get reports.
That's the one that I'm having the problems with.
I don't know, but maybe we'll test that between you and I. Maybe we can test that, because that.
Okay, we'll do that. Thanks,
yeah,
Shel.
That's good. That's good to know, Bonnie, and we need to test that for sure. Okay. Let me go into share my screen again. And again, when we go to this page, this is after we're done editing. These are these basic analytics that we get. And obviously everything is 0 because nobody's subscribed to this list yet. Nobody's done anything on this list, so everything is 0. But once you start getting subscribers, you'll actually start getting some numbers in here of when the emails go out. And it'll tell you how many have been sent, how many have been opened, how many clicks, how many subscriptions. It's actually really, really cool that you've got these basic analytics for each individual email. And then down here, it'll tell you the entire email sequence and the subscriber list and how many you've got subscribed, how many are confirmed, all that good stuff. So it's great analytics, but there's actually more information. You can find more information, and I'm going to show you how to find those. So before I do that, though, we probably won't cover that today because that's going to be towards the end. But I want to show you where you can go into this email sequence and do additional things with this email sequence. So here in Mailing Boss, I'm going to go into campaigns and then go to email sequence. And it will list all of my email sequences that I have, which I only have one right now. And so this is Shelly's awesome list, email sequence number 1. And you'll see that I have 5 campaigns. This is the campaign count. And I have 5 campaigns, which means I have 5 individual emails inside of this sequence. It tells you the date that I added it, when I last updated it, and then it's got some options right here on the right-hand side. So we're going to take a look at those options so you understand exactly what you can do with the entire email sequence, because that's where we're at right now, is we're looking at the entire email sequence. So this first one is the circle with a little exclamation point, and it is the sequence campaign report. So I'm going to click that. Ta-da! We can look at that same data we were just looking at a minute ago. Okay, so that's the fast way into it. Also, I want you to notice that I have that edit this sequence button here. So I can go in to look at the analytics, and then I can go in and edit the sequence if I need to. So I can do that from here. All right, so that's the first little icon that's under sequences. The second one is update. When I click that one, it's going to take me into the settings for this email sequence. So I can rename it. I can attach it to a different list. I can choose a segment, which we don't have any segments. We may get to talk about that later. I can also choose if I want to send it to featured subscribers or that crazy one we talked about, which is send to current and featured subscribers. You can leave it the way it is. And then I have the ability to save and edit the emails. So there I am in my editor again. And remember, this is the editor light. This is the light version. And I can go in and edit any of these emails and then click done. And I'm able to see my data again. Okay, so that is the update feature. So I'm going to go back to my sequence list. So I'm now in the sequence area again. We looked at the first 2 icons. The next one is sequence campaigns. So if I want to go right into the sequence campaigns, which are the individual emails, I can click that button and go straight into editing these emails. And again, this is the email editor light. Okay, this is the simple one. But in this version, I can edit all of them from one screen. Okay, or I can go back to my sequence list and I can click this button right here, which is the delete button. Not going to do it because I don't want to delete the whole sequence. But then the next one is transfer. This one allows you to transfer a complete email sequence from one account to another account. So I'm going to look at your eyeballs because this is fabulous, right? I can pre-set up an email sequence and I can fill out that email sequence with the emails that I want. And then I can call up David and I can say, David, I've got a great email sequence. Do you want it? And if he says yes, I can actually just transfer him a copy of it and he gets a copy, I have a copy, and we're both happy. So it's a really neat feature. Phoenix?
First question, can we copy an email? Second question, can I copy a sequence before I transfer it? Because with the website, if you don't copy it and you transfer it, it's gone.
Yeah, it's a little bit different here. Let me show you exactly what it does. So I'm going to share my screen.
So my first worry will be that it's going to go out of the account completely.
Right. If I click this button, transfer, I have the ability to copy it.
Yeah, that's where it is.
Or transfer. And I believe, it's been a while since I've done this, but I believe when you transfer, it leaves a copy on your computer, on your account. It doesn't do like the website.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
Not like positive. Copy copies it to you. Transfer sends a copy to the person. But you know what? Phoenix, are you in your account?
Yeah, I can go there.
Yeah, go there for me. And I'm going to transfer to you. And I want you to private message me your Builderall email. Private message me so that it is private. And then we'll transfer it to you and we'll see if it disappears. If I remember correctly, it just transfers a copy to you. But we'll check it out to make sure.
Yeah. Okay.
And also, while she's checking that, when you're transferring the whole sequence, if you embedded links into your sequence, she has to go back and edit,
yes,
correct, the URLs and everything. She still has to edit the sequence, right? Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, you still have to do that, which is for an agency work.
Remember one thing though, Gabriel, I'm so glad you asked that question, because do you remember going in and editing the emails that we have the auto funnel tags available?
Oh yeah.
Remember that? So technically, if we had Phoenix setting up her auto funnel tags like the way we want to, we'd have to standardize it. But we could put the auto funnel tags in and it would put that information in automatically. So the auto funnel tags, that's another layer of use, is when you share those emails, it will take the auto funnel tags, go to Phoenix's profile and pull that information in.
All right. Shirley, I am in mailing. I need to be in Mailing Boss, is it?
Yeah, but send me your overall email.
I'm sending it to you on Messenger.
Oh shoot! Okay, I was watching Zoom. So hold on, let me jump in.
Oh, I didn't even think about putting it in the chat.
Yeah, that's actually what I was initially asking, but that's okay.
Oh,
not a problem.
I can do that. It's confusion. It's like, just send it to me. It's like, yeah, sure. Like, you have to say which channel these days. Wow.
Technology overload.
Yeah, we have a lot of sources.
If you work on so many channels, you just pick a random one. All right. So, Shirley, I've sent you my account email.
All right, fabulous. Now, I'm going to do this without sharing my screen, you guys, because I don't want to give away Phoenix's email.
Yeah, please don't.
So, if you don't mind. Yeah, but we don't need everybody spamming Phoenix. But I'm going to transfer. I'm putting her email in there, and then I'm going to click yes. And it actually did send it away. So send it back to me.
Let's go. I knew it. I knew it.
Yep. But I could choose copy instead of transfer. And then I could copy it to you. So when you send it back to me, or actually,
I'm going to try and copy it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And then I'll send it back, but I have got nothing yet.
Shirley, question.
Yes.
You set up an email sequence for a particular mailing list. Can you switch or change or use the same sequence for a different mailing list? Can you change it or can you add it to another mailing list?
You can't in that particular version, right? You can assign it to only one mailing list, but you can copy it. You can send a copy to yourself. You can actually use your own email on Builderall and send a copy to yourself and then assign that sequence to another list.
It's actually sent me your entire list. It's added your list to my list of lists. It's like, whoa, okay. So I suddenly have your entire list.
Can you share your screen with me so I can see exactly what you're seeing?
Yeah, of course. The amount of things I've got open. Let's see if this works.
Can you share your bank account?
This has always been a fun thing to test for sure.
Now I got to be careful because this is live stuff. Hang on a bit.
So you got my subscriber list.
I've got your whole.
That's good. And then go to campaigns and sequences.
So I've got your whole list here.
Shelly, I have a question. Sorry. How did you send it? The list.
I just did a transfer.
Oh, you transferred.
Yeah, I just transferred it. So this is the all of well.
Okay, just wondering. I didn't see the first part of it. Sorry.
That's okay. So you only got the Shelly's Awesome list, right? That's the only subscriber list you got?
Yeah, judging by the date on this list, yep.
Good. And then you got the email sequence that is associated with that. So that's actually really good. The good thing is you can go back into that email sequence and assign it to any one of your lists and then delete the subscriber list that you got from me if you want to.
Yeah, so what I've done now is I've copied it.
You have to put an email address in there. So my email address is skydivingdiva.
But if I want to copy it, but hang on a minute.
You have to put an email, and it has to be a Builderall email.
So, okay, this was confusing because intuitively I thought I give it a new name here, and then save it, and then like for the websites, and then you send it out. So what I need to do here is...
It does not work the same as the websites. So
okay, that's very important to learn.
Yep, you have to put an email there. So for my email, it's skydivingdiva@yahoo.com. And if any of you guys want to send me PayPal money, you know my email address now. Just saying.
Okay, so now I do copy, and so it should stay with me.
Yep. So now you still have it. And now let's jump in and see if Shelly has it. So if you don't mind, I'm going to take my screen back.
Yeah, of course.
So if you would stop sharing and then...
you can just break it. That's all right. I'll break it.
I hate stealing from you, though.
Well, actually, Shelly, you have to break it because I've lost that window. So just break it.
You got it.
Okay, you've got it. All right.
Oh, and you know what? I went into my my main account. So,
of course, I went into the other account. Oh,
right. I didn't even think about it being Christy Lynn. So let me see what her profile is, because I forgot what email I used. Christy Lynn at Builderall. So I'm going to jump into my main account. So I'm going to go into incognito. This is so funny, you guys. It's like round and round and go.
Which account again is like?
Yeah, exactly. But let me jump in and switch and send it to myself. This is just so exciting.
So I think that's a very important thing now for everybody to learn, is that the way you copy and transfer your email sequence is different from the way you copy and transfer your website.
Different, yes. And you'll forget, just like I forgot.
That got me. That got me. And I work in this every day.
No, you forget. It's okay. Let me jump into Mounboss, and then I'm going to transfer this bad boy to Christy Lynn. So here's my list. Oops, my campaign. And oh, wait, I guess it could be screen sharing, couldn't I? Let me screen share with you. And here's Shelly's awesome list. This is what I got from Phoenix. So I'm going to transfer, and we're going to send it to Christy Lynn at builderalldiva.com. And we're going to, I'm just going to transfer it out so I don't have it in that account.
You got to copy it so it stays.
No, I don't want it in this account. I don't want it in my main account.
All right.
I'm good with it being lost to this account.
All right.
So it is now gone. And now I'll actually jump over into this one, and we'll see if I've gotten it back yet. So email sequence and Shazam. So roundabout, you guys have had a lot of fun watching Phoenix and I play with the copy and transfer feature. But Here's the thing, and I'm actually glad you get to see us going through this process. Let me stop sharing a minute. There's just no way to remember all the ins and outs of every single thing that happens in Builderall. And what you saw with me saying, I can't remember if transfer keeps it or if copy keeps it, test it, just exactly like we just did, test it. And I love the fact that there's a few of you guys during this boot camp that have teamed up and you're actually working together, and that tickles me. You have no idea how much that tickles me so much. It tickles my tummy so much, way more than my sick tummy does, because what's happening is you guys are working together to be able to test things. And when you work together in pairs or in groups, that's fabulous, because then Willie can call Judy and say, hey, Judy, I just created an email sequence and I tested it, but can you do me a favor and test it really quick and make sure it goes into your inbox and not spam? And Judy, being the lovely person that she is, will jump in and test it and report back. That is the community that we're creating with Builderall. So I love seeing you guys work together and help each other. Now, Willie would never send that to Judy if he hadn't tested it first and he needed new, fresh eyes on it, right? So always test first and then send it out to somebody to test for you afterwards to just get some fresh eyes on it. But that's part of this Builderall community, is actually working together and helping each other. If we continue to do that, this is going to be it's already a fabulous community, but it will make it better than any other community that is online, especially in digital marketing. So hats off and thumbs up to you guys, because you're actually doing a great job working together. And I love seeing that. So let me go ahead and jump into share. And I'm going to take a look at this email sequence. And we've looked at all of these buttons, so we know what all of them mean. Now I want to show you this button right here.
Can I ask something, Shelly?
Oh, yeah,
Sorry.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, because I realized that you transferred, but when you're transferring a website which has a list connected to the website into a form, like a marketing form, it does transfer it as well, the whole list which is connected to that website, is it?
Yeah, I believe, I haven't done it in a while.
Yeah.
But I believe the last report I got was that if you've got a list that's connected to a website, and then you transfer a copy of a website to someone, the subscriber list and the email sequence goes with it.
Yes, that's my experience. So the thing you were showing by transferring only the list, it's an option that is only the list can be transferred into Mailing Boss to Mailing Boss. It cannot be transferred to another system.
Right, and I've actually used this feature myself with my team. We've created pre-made email sequences, so they've already got their website that they're dealing with. They've already got everything done. All they need is that email sequence, and that's the sequence they're going to send out to their new leads that they get in the system. So they're attaching that list to their main Mailing Boss list that goes out to their new leads in Builderall. So they needed that list, but it didn't have to be attached to a website. They just needed that.
It doesn't need to be attached to a website, but it has to be only to be into Mailing Boss. It cannot be another email marketing system like a different email. Okay, great. Thanks very much.
You're very welcome. The only way that I could say that you'd ever transfer to another email marketing system is you just have to copy and paste the emails into a document, and they go into that new email system, and then copy and paste the sequence in there. That's the fastest way that you could do it out of Mailing Boss, because there's no way to send it to a different marketing.
Okay, great, thanks.
You're so welcome. That's a good question. So I'm going to share my screen again. And we are currently in email sequences. So let's say that I wanted to go into the email campaigns, which are each individual email. And you can see that we've got 5 individual emails in this sequence. And I want to work on maybe one of them. So I'm going to click Manage Campaigns. So I'm going to click in there. And when I do, I can see each one of these emails that I've got in my sequence. So here is the campaign name. Another reason why it's very important to name these, because if you notice, I can see clearly on the campaign name which subscriber list it's attached to, which sequence it is, and which email it is. When you get a lot of these emails in there, which I have a lot of emails in my main account, a lot of emails, it gets super confusing which subscriber list it's attached to, which sequence in that subscriber list it's attached to, and which email is in that sequence. So please, 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 the naming convention will help you so much. It took me a long time to figure this out. And this will help you. Okay, so once you have a long list of emails, this is going to help you a lot. Now, you can do some filtering. There's a show advanced here, and you can start filtering by campaign name, by type, all that kind of stuff. But you can still help yourself by using this kind of naming convention to help you organize it as well. So here's the list that it's associated with, right? So it's a part of Shelley's awesome list. It's in the status of draft because this was a copy sent in from Phoenix. So I'm going to look at the options that I have available here under each email campaign. Okay, so we're inside the sequence and we're looking at each individual email in that sequence. So I'm going to take a look at email number 1, and we'll start with this first button, which is overview. So I'm going to click that. We're going to take a look at what it has. And that's just going into the campaign setup information. And I can change the from name, the from email address, the reply to email address. This is the tag for the email that it's going to send to, so you don't want to change that. It's got the subject, so I can actually change that here. I'm going to click advanced. And here we've got some really advanced campaign options. So I can choose to open tracking. I can track the URLs. I can do a JSON feed, which is an advanced programming feed, XML feed, which is like a RSS type feed. I can embed images or not. I can choose to have a plain text email version or not. And then I can actually do a pre-header, which is part of the top part of an email that you hardly ever see unless you want to see it. You have to ask for it. So these are all advanced settings. If you're knowledgeable about this information, you can set this stuff up. If you're not, don't touch it. And then actions against subscribers when they open the campaign. This is when a subscriber opens the email, do the following action on the subscriber. So when you add the action, you can choose to, if they open this email, to copy the user to another list or move a user to another list. If you copy, that means they're going to stay in the original list and be copied over to another list. If you move, that means they're going to be taken out of the first list and put into the second list. But they're technically not taken out. All that happens is their status goes from confirmed to moved. So that technically they're still in that first list. They just have a different status. And because they have a status of moved, they're not going to get any emails, because you have to have a status of confirmed to be able to receive the emails. Okay, so why would we ever want to go in and set that for that email? Because maybe if we open that email, we want them no longer active in that email sequence, but added to another list to get a whole new email sequence that says, hey, I saw that you opened my email, so now you know about our such and such program, so let me tell you more about it. Okay, so you can actually stop the other emails and start new emails. Or you can copy and keep both email sequences going at the same time. Okay, so it's up to you. So those are some advanced settings that happen on each individual email. Remember, we didn't have this on the sequence level. We had it at the individual email level. Okay, that's another thing that's hard to keep track of is, oh my gosh, do I use it at the sequence level or the email level? This one's at the email level. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump back in and take a look. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the bottom and I'm going to go save and next. And now I'm going to actually be able to get into edit this individual email. And I want you to notice that it looks different, this editor, right? I don't have all of the emails listed on the side because I'm only editing this single email. Let me look at your eyeballs because I want you to write this down, circle it, underline it, highlight it, whatever you need to do. The only way to get to the advanced editor is to edit a single email. If you go into the area where you can edit all the emails at the same time, you get the editor light. If you go into a single email, you get the advanced editor. Okay, that's another real, do you know how long it took me to figure that out? It was tricky. I'm like, how the crap do you get to the advanced editor again? This is how you edit one single email, and that will give you the advanced editor. Okay, very tricky, but very true. So now let's take a look at what we can do in that advanced editor for a single email. So I'm going to share my, oh, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Shelly. Would you mind taking me back to the, when you first started right now, going where you were able to open those emails again? I don't find it.
Yep, let me share my screen and I'll take you all the way back there again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to campaigns and then I'm going to go to email sequence. Okay. So there's my email sequence that has all 5 emails in there. Then I'm going to go to manage campaigns because I'm going to want to manage each individual email by itself. So I'm going to click manage campaigns. And that gives me a list of all of my individual emails that are inside that sequence. And then from here, I'm just looking at email number 1. And I'm going to go to overview. And I'm going to, did I go to overview? I can't remember what I did. Yes, overview. And right here is where I can change the campaign information, right? So if I don't like my from address that I used for the email sequence, I can change that here for just this email. It doesn't change the other emails. It's just this email. Okay. Then I can go to save and next. And I go into the editor for just this email. Did you get it, Roberto?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay, great. Fabulous. So now let's take a look at this advanced editor and what you can do with it, because there's some really, really neat things you can do. First one is if you have HTML that you want to use that's from a URL. I've never used this, so it has absolutely no value to me. But if you happen to have some coding that's HTML and you have the URL for it, you can actually do that from here. So you put the URL in and it asks you if you have some CSS information. You can click yes or no and then click import. Obviously, this is for people that definitely know how to do HTML. So I actually know how to do HTML, but I don't have code from a URL that I want to pull in. But that is there for you if you want to do it. The next one is upload a template. So you can click here and you can upload a template that you've created. Now I want to read what it says to you. It says, please see this example in order to understand how you should format your uploaded archive. Also, please note, we only accept zip files. So you're going to click this to find out what that means, right? What the format has to be.
Hello, Shelly. It was the question that I've asked you yesterday. Is it the place to find it?
No, this is not the place.
This is not. Okay.
This is if you have a template outside of the system that you want to
outside.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, no.
Yep. And it has to be in a zip file. And again, this was pretty advanced. Hold on just a second. This one's pretty advanced. So play with it for sure, but don't do this on a live sequence. Use this in like a playground sequence so that you can test it and play with it and figure it all out, because it does have to be an archive file and it has to be in zip format. Okay. So I'm going to leave that for you guys to investigate because it's a little bit advanced than what we're going to do here. So question, I had somebody hop in with a question.
Yeah, that was me. A zip file of what format of archive?
you'll have to click that little blue button. It'll tell you more.
I'll go figure it out. Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit complicated. So I'm going to go to share. I don't use it because it's out of the way complicated for me. The next button, and this is the one that you will be interested in, Arlie, is change or select template. So I'm going to click here, and here's where I go to my gallery, and I can choose any template that I've chosen from the gallery, or I can actually make my own templates in my template area. So let me look in your eyeballs so you can kind of understand how this works. If you go in and you create your own template, and you can say, I want the top to say hello first name, comma, and I want the bottom to say Shelly Turner, Builder All Divas. I'm basically creating a signature at the bottom, and then I'm creating an empty body, and I want that to be my template. You can put it into the My Template area and create it and put it in there. And then you can actually pull that in as a pre-template and then fill in the body of your email. So that is a real thing that you can do. It's actually not that hard if you want to use a template to build your emails. Mine are not that hard because I do all text-based. So it's always just going to say hello or welcome or howdy, and then their first name. And then at the bottom, I'll put something like Shelly Turner, Builder All Diva. It's that simple. But if you want to do a template, you can create your own template, add it into the template area under My Templates. We talked about that, I think, the first or second day. And then you can grab that template in from this advanced email editor. Okay, David?
Is that where you would add your Y stamp then? Through that place?
You can. Actually, I'm going to show you probably in the next couple of days how you can do a signature file. It's actually funny, but I will show you how you can do like a signature type thing as well. Okay.
Shelley, do you know if that template will move along with transferring a list?
See, that one I don't know. That'd be a good one to test though.
Okay.
All right, let me go ahead and share my screen again. And I'm going to go back and back to my email. And so we talked about change or select template. This one right here, test template, this is going to save you a ton of headache because you can click this button and you can choose to send yourself a copy of this email. So as you're building, if you want to make it look fancy, and some of us do like to make it look fancy. I'm not one, but a lot of you guys are going to be the ones that want to make it look fancy, and that is okay. I will never think anything less of you if you want to make your emails fancy. But if you do, and you're building it, and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to see this and what it's going to look like in an email, that advanced editor allows you to send a test email, and you can send it to yourself to see what it's looking like so far. Okay, that is a fabulous tool, and you want to be able to access that. But the only way to do that is in the advanced editor. So you have to go into the individual email to do that. Okay, everybody got it? Okie dokie. So let's go into share again. And I'm going to close this one. And the next one is Google UTM tags. Google UTM tags are a way to manage what's happening in your email and how to create tags via Google to do analytics, to monitor what's happening with your email. Where is it going? What links are clicked, tracking the links, all that good stuff. Google does that. It's an advanced feature for sure, but you can use Google UTM tags to track some analytics in your emails. It's actually pretty cool. But you have to set up Google UTM inside of the Google Developer Console. So it is a little bit of an advanced feature to use in your emails. I won't cover that because it's a little bit advanced. But for you guys that are advanced, it is actually a really neat feature. It is a way to create some analytics for your emails that are above and beyond what Builderall gives you. The next one is right here. It is changed to the HTML editor. Now it says, save your work first. That should be in red, bold letters, right? Don't forget to save your work before you go into the HTML editor. So I'm going to go down here, and if I could, I would click save, but my save is not showing because it's because I've been bouncing in and out of it. This is actually a little confused. So I'm going to pretend like I click save, and then I'm going to go up here to change to the HTML editor. When I click that, hopefully it'll load for us. And what it does is it gives me a lot more power to change what this email looks like. Now, remember all the stuff that we had go wrong when we were in that email editor light, when we really struggled to get things to change to the right size, to the right line spacing, all that kind of stuff. Well, you have a lot more power right here to manipulate that because you've got such a huge option right here on your static toolbar, dynamic toolbar. So here you've got a lot more options, right? We've got all of these options for the text. And the most important tool in my mind is that clear formatting or remove formatting. You can actually go in and remove all the formatting and start from scratch right here. You've also got these tools, bullets, numbers. You can do an indent. You can increase indent or decrease. Lots of different things that you can do that you cannot do in even the advanced editor outside of this HTML editor. But here's the thing, is a lot of people in a mobile phone. When you open was I frozen?
Yeah, Shelley, you've gone there for a little bit. Just backtrack about half a paragraph.
Okay. So the HTML editor is fabulous. It's absolutely fabulous. But I want you to remember that emails being received on mobile phones a lot more than ever before. And when you do HTML, it eats up bandwidth, one thing, because it's got a lot of stuff that they have to go through as far as settings, HTML settings, to be able to display on their mobile device. And a lot of stuff is natively blocked. Like images may be natively blocked. Videos definitely natively blocked. There's a lot of stuff that's natively blocked. So you're going to work hard to make this email pretty by doing all this great stuff with HTML. But then when the person gets it, there's going to be some that's blocked, some of it that you work so hard on that's blocked. So that's one thing I want to warn you about is if, again, you spend too much time on the HTML part of it to make it pretty, it may not have like any effect when they actually receive it. They may get it plain text or just the formatting for the text, but everything else is hidden until they choose to see it. Have you guys done that on your mobile device where you get an email and something's blocked and it says, if you want to see the image, click here, and then it'll go out, get the image and bring it back, right?
Yes.
So yeah, so that's what's happening is the email providers know and mobile providers know that email, we're getting tons of it every day. You can imagine if we received every picture, every video, every formatting thing that you put into the email, it would suck up your bandwidth. So a lot of that formatting is blocked. And you can choose to see it in HTML format, but a lot of times you have to specifically click it and say, I want to see the HTML. So the text formatting may be fine. But when you go to extra links to add images or add red text versus black text or underline or italicize, that may not come through. Those HTML settings may be blocked until they choose to see the HTML settings. Okay, so I want to warn you against that. And it goes back to my own preference to just try to make it a simple text. I never go into these HTML settings. It's just too much work for me. And I can make so much money when I have time available to make money. But if I take up that time by making my emails pretty, I'm losing money. So, and to me, it doesn't matter. So, but it's a personal choice. Again, I'm never going to dislike anyone if they have pretty emails. Never.
So again, Shetta, this is why, again, just for the sake of this being on recording, because I'm going to watch this with a group of people. Mm-hmm. It's recommended, highly recommended by an awesome person to just have a plain email with and anything that you want people to see, just hyperlink it to a word in there.
Yep.
Now, one question I have would say, for instance, if you have you have a text, but you might want to add a red color to it to emphasize click here. Would the color change? I mean, would that affect them receiving an email because it has a different color text?
It may or may not. It really depends on, I think, the email provider and then, of course, the device that you're on. But anytime you create a link like that, usually it appears as a little different. Depending on the provider, I can't really say every time it's going to appear blue or it's going to appear underlined, because sometimes it's different depending on how you're receiving it. But usually a hyperlink is shown a little bit differently. There's one exception, and I'm going to show you that exception in a minute, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, you guys? All right, let's go ahead and jump in and share. And I'm in the HTML editor. Let's say that I've made all my changes because I do want my email to be pretty, so I use the HTML editor. Now I'm going to go ahead and make sure I click save, because save is my friend. And then I'm going to go back and change to the other editor. So I'm going to click change, and it takes me back to my other version. Now, here's another important thing that I want you to remember. This right here, this version inside this box, even though it's showing like it's plain text, it still has some formatting, right? When we pull over these elements, they are formatted. And there are people in this world that collect their email as plain text only, meaning I don't want any formatting at all. So to meet the needs of those people, you can actually go ahead and highlight your entire message and copy it, and then go down to show plain text version. And then you can make sure in here, you've got all of your content in here in plain text version. I'm going to scroll down, and it's not letting me scroll deeper, but let me see if I can go down. There we go. So your whole email should be copied into a plain text version that does not show any formatting at all. I'm not even sure if it'll show the URL address, but being a tag, it seems like it would, because that's required. So I'll have to check that, because I have one place that's doing plain text. So I'll check that again. But let me look at your eyeballs. This is for people that when they've chosen to receive their email, they say, I only want my email in plain text. That means when they get it, it's going to strip all formatting. All formatting, okay? If you don't put a plain text version there, then it's going to take whatever you got inside of the main box, which if you haven't added any pictures or you haven't added a whole lot of color changes and italics and stuff like that, then you should be pretty much okay. But if you want to make sure there's a very nice plain text version that you know is going to work for them, then just recreate your email in the plain text area, and then you know those plain text people are taken care of. There's not many of them, right? There's not many of them, but there are those that don't want any formatting on their email.
Could you show that again, how you did that again, Shelly?
I absolutely will.
Thank you.
Go ahead and share screen. And all I did was down here at the bottom of the main box where you're editing, if you go below that, there's a button. Right now it says hide plain text version, but it did say show plain text version. When I clicked it, it opened up the box so I could recreate my email in plain text. And then this will take no formatting at all. So it won't have bold, it won't have underline, it won't have italics, it won't have pictures, nothing like that. It's just going to do plain text email for you. Okay? That help?
Okay. Yeah, because when you had copied, that kind of blinked and lost it. But now I got it.
Sorry about that. There you go. What it's going to do for this part is it will have the actual link just completely typed out. and the person can highlight it and then copy it into, they won't be able to click on it, but they'll be able to highlight it and copy it to be able to unsubscribe. And then this tag right here will specifically have your company information, but it won't be clickable. So typically in these plain text emails, nothing is clickable because it strips all formatting completely off.
Okay.
Okay.
What would you, Shelley, what would you use this plain text for?
Because there are those very few people in this world that do not want any formatting on their email.
I don't have those people in my lists.
That's good. And if you're doing just a plain text email where you're not like what I do, where I do like no formatting, I literally just put the text in there. So I'm not doing bold stuff. I'm not doing underlined stuff. I'm not doing color changes on the only thing I'm really doing is putting hyperlinks if I want a link in there. So in the plain text version, I'd have to type out the link instead of having a hyperlink. That'd be the only thing I'd have to change for the plain text version. Okay.
And you have to do that per email if you want to see anything. Okay, thank you.
Right. And the only place to see this is in the advanced email editor. Okay. So just wanted to make you aware of that. So let me go ahead and jump in again. And so we've talked about this area right here. We've talked about before the available tags, the available custom tags. This is actually really cool. I will take you into custom tags later, not at this point, but I'll take you into custom tags and show you some really cool stuff for custom tags. And then of course the auto funnel tags, which we were talking about, you can put these tags in, it will go in, see if they're logged into Builderall, take a look at their profile and bring the information back into the email. So some really cool stuff you can do with those items. So once you're done editing in the advanced text editor, right? So we've gone through all of those buttons. We know we can change to the HTML editor. We know we can work on our plain text editor, and I can click hide that so it doesn't show anymore. So once everything is done for that one email, I can then go in and choose save and next. And now it's thinking about it. It's going to process the information and it's going to send me back to a screen that allows me to change the autoresponder event. Do I want to send it out right after they subscribe? Or do I want to send it out based on the fact that they opened a different campaign? For me, I'm going to do after they subscribe. I've got it set at 0 minutes. Send to future subscribers only. There's some data information on this email. And then I've got the spam checker. And again, I can never remember if a 0 is good or a 5 is good, but I'm going to click on it and we'll see what it does. So I'm going to let her rip. And it says between a 0 and 5, your spam score is a 0. So honestly, I can't remember. I've asked this from the developers like 50 times. They've given me an answer 50 times, and I never remember what the answer is. So I will do my best to ask that question again and see if I can get an answer. And this time I will put it in my important information document so I can look it up again. Because for some reason, my brain cannot retain this number on which one is good. But anyway, once we look at all of that, then we can click Save and Activate. So I'm going to click Save and Activate. And Shazam, I now have this email sequence number 1. But I want you to notice something, and this is very important. Remember, I chose to activate. Do you notice how this item right here has a few less icons than up here? These, because Phoenix sent me these emails, we transferred them, or actually she copied them. I don't remember what it was, or whatever I did. These are not active yet. I did not activate them. So I have all of these buttons, but when I activate, I get fewer buttons because in this area, I cannot edit the email until I pause. So that's what this button is pause. So before I can edit this email, I need to pause it, and then I'll be able to edit in the advanced editor. Everybody got that? Remember when we went the other way, when we went through the sequence and then looked at all of the emails together, we could edit on the fly, even though they were active. But if you go into an individual email, you have to pause before you can go in and edit. Okay? All right. So now let's take a look at what other buttons we have available. So I'm going to continue to look at the active emails, or sorry, the paused emails. So this one is paused. So this button gives me the opportunity to copy. So I can copy this email.
There it is. There it is.
This one gives me the ability to update. So I can go in and update the information. This one, and also I think this takes me into the editor as well. This one actually allows me to delete this email. And then this one allows me to transfer this email and only this email. So remember, we've looked at the ability to copy and transfer the entire sequence. Now we can actually copy and transfer an individual email as well. Okay. And then looking down here at the active one, I have the overview, so I can take a look at the settings for this email. I can pause this email. I can copy this email, transfer this email. So I have very different buttons than I do once it's paused. Okay, so just make sure you look at the difference. I also want you to notice that the delete button is over here on this pause email, but there is no delete when it's active. That means you can't delete it while it's running. All right, so those are all the settings that you have for your individual email sequence and then individual emails in that sequence. So we've actually done a lot today. And my bet is you're gonna have to go back through this video and watch it again because it gets a little confusing. But just remember there's certain things that you could do only in the email sequence. And then certain things you can only do when you're looking at individual campaigns. And the biggest one is getting to that advanced editor. And the only way you can get there is if you go into an individual email campaign. Okay. There's a couple of other things I want to show you. So I'm going to go back. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I got to ask a question because it is kind of confusing though.
It is.
On an email sequence light, right? Mm-hmm. When you finish doing that, and then you go to HTML Advanced Editor Campaign Templates, mm-hmm. Any change that you make on Advanced Editor, it will affect the email sequence light?
Yes. Yes. If you go in the other way to look at the email again, you'll see the changes. You just won't be able to, if you go into the light editor, you won't be able to hit the HTML Advanced Editor.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So let me show you a couple more things before we go. I'm going to click share. And I want you to notice that all of this is blue, right there and right there. So these are clickable. So let's take a look at what happens. Remember, we are looking at our campaigns, right? So we're looking at each individual email in the sequence. So I'm going to go ahead and click this, the name of the campaign. So when I click it, what it pulls up is going in and changing the settings. So I can go in and change the from, the email, the reply to. I can change the subject. I can do save and next. And I can get into that advanced editor again. And that's again because I'm in the individual email. Okay. So that's what that link does when I'm looking at the hyperlink that's there in the campaign list. So that's how I got there, was clicking that hyperlink right there. Now, what happens if I click this hyperlink? Let's take a look. I'm going to click it. And it's going to take me into my subscriber list because it was telling me what list it was attached to. So when I clicked it, it took me to the subscriber list dashboard where I can start working inside of the subscriber list. Okay, so it takes me to like a completely different place. So now let's go back. I'm going to go to email sequence again. And if you look at this time, I'm looking at the email sequence, right? So this is all of the campaigns together in the sequence. And this is a clickable link as well. So if I click it, it's going to take me in to all of the emails. And this is the email editor light. So I can actually edit all of the emails at the same time, but I don't get those advanced features that I get if I'm doing one email at a time. Okay, everybody got that so far? Let me go back up a little bit. And I think that's everything I wanted to show you today. tomorrow we'll actually go a little bit more into some of the features, some more of the features we can do with email. And then we'll focus on connecting email to a web page using an opt-in form or using a contact form. I'm going to show you both ways. And then we'll talk about getting data and how to look at that data once you get them added into MailingBoss. Okay? Judy.
Okay, so I actually played around with all these emails before I did this lesson. So when you were looking at that, I went, oh yeah, I got that. Oh yeah, I got that. Yeah, I saw that. So it wasn't too difficult to get through it. But my question is, so we set up our emails and we've got, say, 5 in the sequence, and then we decide to add more. Can you add more? Do you just go into where it says add another email and tack that on so that you eventually, you could get like 7 or 8?
There's a couple places that you can add more. It's actually really cool. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to go back to the main dashboard page. And right here, it says create a new campaign. I can add a campaign here, and it will ask me what list do you want to add it to and what sequence do you want to add it to. So I can add it there. That's one place. And then if I go to campaigns and go to email sequence, and I go to manage campaigns, I can actually create a new campaign here. And it's going to ask me what list do you want to add it to, what campaign or sequence do you want to add it to. And then if I want to, I can actually go into the sequence area. Remember, we went into here. Oops, edit the sequence. And you've got this screen. You can add a new email right here. So there's several different areas that you can add a new email campaign into, and then still make sure it's on the right subscriber list and the correct sequence. So those are probably the most important things to pay attention to.
Yeah, and do you have to go somewhere to say that this goes to all subscribers from this point on, or does it already pick it up what you've done?
Yeah, you'll be asked that question when you go through the settings.
Yeah.
Kelly, the series of emails that you gave us, I think in the lead magnet training, would those be good to use in here also?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you want to use them, you can most definitely use them. The other area that I have not shown you yet is the workflow area. That's going to be a whole different, it's not really a beast, but it's a whole different area to work in. But again, I'm doing the algebra method, which means I'm going to show you the long way first so you know where everything is at. Because if I only showed you the workflow method, you're going to miss all these little bitty areas that are kind of hidden. And I want you to know where all these little bitty areas that are hidden are at, so you can get there and make those changes if you want to.
That's because she's a teacher.
That's right.
She needs you to know the whole flow before she gives you the shortcut.
That's exactly it. So that's what we're working on. Dominic.
Yeah, I just want to let you know, I do have a PDF with 100 spam words that I'm be more than happy to send over to you, and you can attach it underneath the boot camp. Unfortunately, I'm on my mobile, not my desktop, so it'll have to be when I get home.
That's all right. Send it to me and I will attach it. That's a fabulous resource for sure. Absolutely. Any other questions or comments?
So there is a shorter cut on the horizon, and then just go into it, and then just add to it and tweak it as you wish, right?
Yes, you're going to be angry at me when I show you workflows.
No. We're going to love you more, actually.
But I really want you.
I don't know about that. You might want to just watch until you see the workflow lesson, because
workflow is amazing.
It is amazing.
It changed the way I started to work with it.
Arlee's the one that is going to say thank you, because Arlee's in support, and a lot of people learn workflow and they don't know how to go in and do some of this little stuff that's kind of hidden, and so they ask support about it. So hopefully this, guys, will educate you to the point where you ain't going to need support, because you guys are so smart. You know where everything is at. So that's the goal. Any more questions, guys? All right, your homework for tonight is get in there and get those 5 emails added. Bounce between the editor light and the advanced editor. I want you practicing going into the light version and into the advanced version so you can get into everything that you want to get into. And then tomorrow we'll keep going with email sequences and individual emails. And I'll show you a few more things. And then we'll start working on connecting these to a web page. And I'll show you how to do a contact form and an email marketing form, and how to get both of them sending it to mailing boss. Okay? All right, guys, I think that's everything I have for you today. I'm going to rest my voice, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay?
I won't be here tomorrow, but I'll be here. I'm going to watch the recording as soon as you put it up.
Awesome.
It won't be the same,
I'll watch it this weekend.
We'll miss you tomorrow. We won't be having the crack.
I know, right? I know it.
Dang.
That's all right. We'll catch up when you come back.
Okay.
Shelley, thanks a million, and you look after yourself. Get better.
I will, and I will talk to you guys, those that come. I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a great, great day. Bye,
See you,
guys.
everybody.
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Talk to you later.